Okay guys, so today we're here with Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, episode 15 review slash discussion. Episode 15 just released today. It was a really good episode. It wasn't very hyped up. There was a lot of dull moments in it, and it was just an average day in the village for everyone until the end. The end was really interesting. That's what we're mainly going to be talking about, but I do want to review the episode for a little bit and talk about the whole Samari situation. So at the beginning of this episode, we find out that Samari, or the class rep, is under police custody. She can't leave this like white padded room because they don't want her actually communicating with any of the other X Foundation members, because even though she practically turned herself in and gave up, they didn't want her having a change of heart or underestimating her and she go warn other Foundation members, or they go and start up more plans and she escaped, stuff like that. So just for a safety precaution, they kept her under police surveillance the entire time. And this entire time, everyone at the school thought that she was like home and she got hurt and she was like in the hospital and stuff like that, because that's what all the grown-ups were telling them. They didn't want them to know exactly what happened, but of course Inogen, Shikadai, Naruto, and Mitsuki, they all knew exactly what happened. And Boruto came home for dinner that night. Naruto was actually there for once. Now, if y'all haven't been keeping up with the series, and this maybe you just randomly found this video, Naruto is now the Hokage, as we all know, and he works late all the time, so he rarely comes up. But he came home early this time, and Boruto confronts him and was like, hey, what about my classmate? What about Samari? How is she? And Naruto pretty much is like, oh, the classmate that got hurt in the whole situation, and Boruto tells him like, bitch, I know what happened. I was there. Now you need to tell me what's going to happen with her. And Naruto pretty much tells Boruto, is like, I am the Hokage, but I don't have complete say in everything. I can't help her in this situation, but I'll do my best I can. And at this point in the episode, we find out that it was either Inogen or Shikadai found out that their father was actually getting transfer papers on other villages to find a good village for the class rep to go to for academy training. And last week we found out about this in the spoilers, so we already knew about this, and we all know how Boruto is going to react when he finds this out. He got pretty upset, but right when he got upset, Samari actually showed up, and it was all fine and dandy. Everyone was happy and stuff like that. But I do want to discuss that just a little bit, because it's something that I feel like is very essential to the actual storyline, because Samari reminds me a lot of Hinata from Naruto Shippuden, and I feel like Boruto and Samari is going to have a thing later on down the road. Now, I could be completely wrong about this, but I'm not the only one that actually feels like this. But I feel like having her in the village is a good thing, but also a bad thing for the storyline, because with character development, we've already seen her go from evil, wanting revenge, to good and wanting to stay with her friends and help out and all the other good shit. But I feel like if she would have went to another village, it would have made her training more harder. It would have made her push herself harder to improve better, to become, when she finally came back to the village, it would have been a big celebration, pretty much like when Naruto went along with Jiraiya to train as a kid and came back as a teenager and being a complete badass and passing all of his shinobi exams and stuff like that. I feel like Samari should have done that instead of staying at the village. Now, understand why they actually kept her at the village, so that way, because the whole reason for quitting, wanting revenge and everything, was because of her friends. So I completely understand why they kept her at the village. As long as they make her to where she actually pushes herself and is actually training and not acting like the little wimp she was acting like before, when she was trying to hide exactly who she was. As long as they push her as a character and make her develop better ninjutsus and everything, then I feel like it would be good to keep her there. Another thing that happens this episode is that they were picking new team formations again to test out more formations for when they graduate. They'll actually have a team and stuff like that, what they always do in the academy, and they did that last week as well. I believe it was last week or the week before last when they did that with Ninki, Boruto, and Mitsuki climbing the walls and stuff, doing the obstacle course. This time it was actually another flag training exercise like they did when they destroyed the school, and this time the scaffolding and everything got destroyed. We saw Inogen, Shikadai, and I forgot the girl's name, but Choji's daughter. We see them all team up, which most likely they're going to be a team, period, because that's the almighty trio right there. And then of course we see Boruto and Mitsuki sticking together, and they try out Metal Lee. But from the Boruto movie, we already know it's going to be Boruto, Sandra, and Mitsuki. So they're getting one step closer to actually building their final team setup, because if y'all did not know, the spoiler for this episode was actually telling us that the finals for the academy are coming up, so their final team formations are actually going to be picked here soon. And that's what the next couple of episodes are going to actually focus on. They're going to focus on them trying to get ready for the academy exam. Dinky is not very physically fit to pass the exam, especially with his ninjutsu. He's going to get a Wabi to help him with that. And a Wabi, of course, he's not very good at his studies, so he's going to get Dinky to help him with that. And so that's pretty much what the next couple episodes are going to be based on. And also there was a spoiler with the title leaks that pretty much says that the next couple of episodes are actually also going to focus on Sandra. And you know, watching this episode, I didn't really see how they're going to transition to Sandra, but we actually see exactly how they're going to transition at the end of this episode at the last 2 minutes. So the last 2 minutes we see Naruto's, well, we thought it was actual Naruto, but it was actually one of his clones because Naruto couldn't leave the office like always. But one of his clones is climbing up a giant tree in the middle of nowhere, and he met Sasuke. Sasuke's first appearance in the entire anime, and it's really amazing. I'm glad Sasuke's starting to make an appearance, and we kind of figure out exactly what he's been doing this whole time, walking around, traveling to other villages, and all this other shit that he's been doing. He's trying to find out more about the Kaguya clan, because if y'all didn't know, and y'all new to the Naruto series, or technically the Boruto series, Naruto and Sasuke are the ones that actually beat Kaguya, which is the leader of the Kaguya clan and stuff like that. She's the leader, and they killed her off, but there's still others like her out there, and I feel like that's what he's been actually studying and trying to follow up on, because he gets a scroll from Naruto, and he tells Naruto that the Gozo Tendo was actually a teleporter to the realm Kaguya used and while they were fighting her, and that he has no clue how Danzo got this close to this kind of level jutsu. Finally, right before Sasuke leaves, Naruto tells him, you know, you don't have to keep wandering around, dude. You can come back to the village and just rest for a few days, go hang out with your daughter and Sakura. And Sasuke's like, tells Sakura, I'm sorry for everything, and then he just goes away, and Naruto pretty much says, I'm really the one sorry for everything. Now, I don't really know what Naruto meant by that, but pretty much this is how they're going to lead into the whole Sandra and Sasuke thing that they hinted towards, and the spoiler leak said, because now Naruto is going to go back to the village next episode and start talking to Sakura. Sandra's going to overhear them most likely, and this is how the whole shit's going to get started. Now for the real big thing I wanted to talk about. This review drug on a little bit longer than I thought it was. There was a lot more to discuss than I really felt like there was needed to be discussed, but hopefully you guys enjoy it anyway. At the end of the episode, we see I believe his name is Kinshiki and Momoshiki, and also Tonari. Now, Tonari is still blind. If you don't know who they are, they're actually part of the Kaguya clan. They're a part of Kaguya's. Remember, they live in the different dimension that the new is from, or the dimension Kaguya was fighting Naruto and Sasuke in the Naruto Shippuden. And apparently these two were actually planning on using the news ability to go between dimensions to actually get to Earth for some reason. Now, we don't know exactly why. Well, we actually know why, because these are the two people from the Naruto the Last movie. They're here to collect chakra and get all the chakra stored back up and put it with them themselves. They were in the dimension where they brought Naruto to when they kidnapped him in Naruto the Last. And we pretty much find out that there's still openings from that world, and that they're supposed to report to the rest of the clan about stuff like this and before they do stuff. But then Kinshiki was like, nah bro, we're gonna bounce, come with me. And Momoshiki was like, okay, I got this. So this pretty much tells us two things. Number one, there's more of the Kage members that we're gonna have to worry about in the future. I know there's a lot. I think they leaked a picture of them a while ago. I'm not too sure about that though. And number two, most likely either we're gonna get another filler arc in between this arc and between the Ghost arc and the main arc, or they're just going to completely jump into the final main arc. Well, I don't want to say final main arc, but we're going to be jumping into one of the more crucial arcs that go off the Naruto the Last movie. I feel like they're going to end up doing the same thing Dragon Ball Super did with the Resurrection F movie. They're going to pretty much build off of those movies and have them pretty much relived in the anime with more details and stuff like that, but it's going to pretty much be a giant copy of the movie. Anyway guys, that's it for this episode review. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like. Let me know down in the comment section below how you enjoyed this episode. What do you think about Momoshiki and Kinshiki actually being involved in the anime now? What do you think is going to happen with Sasuke and Sandra? And anyway guys, I'll see you the fuck later. Peace.